Let's talk about how you can catch more wahoo this fall and winter using SatFish. Hey guys, my name's Captain Ryan Van Fleet, and welcome to the Good Karma Sportfishing Podcast. Okay, let's dive into it right away. I want to go over a blog that I wrote that just was recently published on the SatFish website. So it's a very in-depth blog, so you're going to have to read it a few times because I loaded it with some really good information for you guys. So when I do write, I really try to give people information that is going to help them get better. Okay. And also what it does, it opens up it does something to your brain. It gets it a little bit more, it gets it working, I guess you could say. So let's dive into it right away. I'm going to pull up my share screen here. Okay, SatFish. Okay. So the SatFish website is just loaded with some really good fishing tips. And how do you find them? You go to the how-to. And for you guys that really like to catch like cobia, you can go like to their, they've got several blogs here. You can go in and really start learning about some cobia. You might find something in here that that you may not already know. You go through here, and this cobia blog has some great information. So, and also too, for the people that love the dolphin fish, you've got the how to catch dolphin here. I actually have a blog on dolphin fishing as well on the SatFish website. And then it's that time for all you guys that are wahoo nuts like myself, that are really passionate about it, the how to catch wahoo. There is some really great information on here. So for you guys that have just signed up for SatFish, I highly suggest that you go to their blog site and you just start studying. Okay. We've got this week is going to be a good time for you to especially all you guys down here in South Florida. We're going to see some hurricane force winds that are going to move through, especially us down here in the Keys. We're going to see it like midweek. And then on the Gulf side, they're going to get it. So we're definitely going to be in our prayers that the Gulf makes it, with very little damage. But anyhow, so with the wind and all this stuff that's setting in, this is a good time to do some homework. So work on your fishing tackle, all that good stuff. So we've got the SatFish blog here. You go in. This is the new blog that I wrote, the in-depth guide to finding and catching wahoo in the Florida Keys. Now, I haven't really told you guys my SatFish story, and I do walk you through it. About the story here. So there's a couple of my clients here, and they're a hell of a fun to fish with. So and I tell the story about this particular day in the blog, and I was using SatFish. So back in 2022, we were experiencing some really nasty water down here. Lots of green water, lots of sargassum weed. And the fishing had started to change a little bit as where the fish were showing up, and I was pretty frustrated. So I tell the story here that I just said I saw an ad and on Facebook one night after I came home. I had got my ass kicked that day, and I got my ass kicked several times actually. And I was starting to get frustrated because I just couldn't find any good water. So I said, well, I might as well try it and see. So I signed up for their 30-day trial, and the rest was like, after I signed up, things just changed. I was able to pull up these satellite charts, and it was pretty much pointing me to areas where there was clean water, okay, and good water. So I was like, okay, well, let's change it up. And the areas that I was fishing over the past many years, it was just loaded with weed and just nasty water. There's no fish there. So I decided to, invest in the SatFish, and it just changed everything for me. So, man, I went on to have an amazing season. And what's so great about it is that I was able to share it with a few guys. and I wanted to see if they were going to have the same success, and they did. So we kind of kept it quiet for a while. We kept it quiet for a while, and then I started sharing it a little at a time. And now, present day, I've been using it for 2 years now, and I've shared it with many people, and I became I listen very passionate about SatFish, and I have become an affiliate for them, and I stand by it. It's just a great product. So we're going to as you go through the blog here, I walk you through eddies, okay? And one thing about eddies, I like to look at them as time capsules. You can get yourself, something can like curl up in a ball, and it can like, you can encapsulate yourself, and you can travel through all this different like bad stuff to get to another location. So within that time capsule is all the good stuff in there, all your food, everything that you want, and then you're just riding with it until you get to the location. And that's how I look at time capsules. I'm kind of a science fiction geek, so I'm like, that's the best way for me to to explain them, but without going into the nitty-gritty science stuff. But within the blog, I included I walk you through eddies and how wahoo tend to migrate within these eddies from point A to point B. So and then I walk you through the understanding of the eddies in the Florida Keys. Like right now we have a lot of eddies that are moving through. There has been some beautiful eddies offshore holding some awesome tunas. Just been a really good fishing. I do utilize this eddies and upswellings to dial in more on snappers too, and that's something that I will that I talk about in some of my courses that I have available. In the current Wahoo course, I really dig into showing a lot of examples of some really good water and stuff where I've caught some wahoo and what to look for as far as the migrations goes. But anyhow, so I show some eddies there, and then I talk about, oh, this is a good one. So for all you sailfish guys that are really new, that want to rack up numbers, still learning, got new boats and all that stuff, and want to get dialed in pretty quickly, this is a great way for you guys to learn how water moves and about migrations. So this is an epic day here that was probably one of the best days last year when it came to sailfish, wahoo, everything. And you can see the eddy formations and filaments here, just stuff that you can learn and see. And that's what it's all about. It's studying the process of fishing. So the guys that grasp the process are the ones that are the most successful. They don't tend to talk too much about it. But that's why they do so well. But you can also I go down through the blog here. I can talk about how you can track the eddies as well. I give you a step-by-step on how to go through it. I talk about the migrations. Now, one thing I do use the SatFish for is I really watch the Tortugas eddy, because I do feel now, and that's one thing about me, and that's one thing about fishing, it's the process, okay? It's the process. So the Tortugas eddy, there's a lot that goes on with this eddy, okay? This can be this can bring in some awesome yellowfin tuna fishing. Like back in the day, there used to be a badass yellowfin bite off of Key West. This will probably happen again, like sooner than later. Everything goes in cycles. So this is the type of stuff that you can stay ahead of. All these things that you hear about in the past, and I do feel that this is the driver, is the Tortugas eddy. Why? Because there's just been a ton of studies done on it, and by the University of Miami has done a ton of studies on it, and it's pretty fascinating as far as what happens with this eddy. So what happens is is that the eddy comes around. I'm not going to get into the science of it. It's in the blog. Then you'll have the eddy that when this eddy moves in closer to the upper keys, it starts breaking off. Okay. So you have pieces that break off, and there's the eddy will actually move up. Some of these there will actually move up to more up towards the upper keys, and then you'll get south current. A lot of guys are like, "Oh, that's weird south current spec." It's not weird. It's not weird. Okay, it's part of the process. And there's a lot of, it's like when you're going out there and you're catching fish and you got south current, you have to like know that that's actually a good thing. And you have to realize that when that stuff starts happening, that's when the magic starts happening out there. You really have to grasp why it happens so you can make decisions on the water. Okay. And when I see the eddies Tortugas come in and I start seeing these eddies, the smaller eddies break off of this, then I know that there's a good possibility of Wahoo, packs of Wahoo that will move through the upper keys. My take on things is that a lot of our Wahoo, I do believe, comes out of the Gulf of Mexico. That's what I've seen and can correlate a lot of smaller Wahoos. The Boynton, like up there in North Florida, their migrations are a lot different than ours down here. So, like I said, for me, I'm really watching where this eddy's at and how these little eddies that break off, and you can study those. So that's something that I just went through and showed in my course on how these things break off, what to look for, what a really good day looks like on SatFish, how why the shoals off of Marathon are some of the best places to Wahoo fish early season, and Key West. Early season Wahoo Marathon can be some of the absolute best off of wrecks like the Thunderbolt, and then you have all the shoals down there. It's just a matter of knowing when to go, and that's it. So it's just this is it right here. So in my opinion, but that's just me. Everybody has their own philosophies on stuff and this, but as far as a fishing guide, this is what I look for. So, and when you have south current, I look at the charts, I see where the eddies are at, and that tends to show you if I got green water, sometimes these eddies will pull in closer, then they'll start pulling that green, nasty algae water from inshore. Seen that yesterday off of Conch Reef, where there was an eddy that was in there and it was pulling green water out to like 140. Those are good spots to yellowtail fish. And you guys, like, that's the thing, is like the water's too clean in one area, it's not a good area. But if the water's a little green, those are amazing areas to go catch yellowtail in. So it just isn't about catching pelagics. There's a lot more to this. Grouper trolling. I figured out yes, I do some grouper trolling, but I just don't talk about it. So maybe someday I will. But it's something that I said that I don't do, but I actually do on my own time, and I do enjoy it. So it's an easy way to go out and catch fish, but I also use SatFish to help me get dialed in on that stuff. So anyhow, so let's dig down a little bit. I'll talk more about grouper trolling here the closer we get to December and November. Let's dig down here. We've got so the one thing about this is that you can use this on your phone. So in October of last year, on the 21st, I was out fishing, and on a Saturday there was tons of people out, and the water was kind of off, and I had some good clients with me, and we were like, I gave them the easy out. The easy out is going to the hump and going tuna fishing. That's an easy out. An easy out is that, or the easy out is going yellowtail fishing, and then the black groupers were biting. I gave them those options, but my clients really are, a lot of my guys that fish with me really want that. They have the mindset in place that they really are, some of them some of these guys have caught a lot of big fish, and that's what they're there for. And they're gamblers. They want to take the risk. They understand that they could get a couple bites and go away. And that's the only way. You got to have skin in the game to win. So you can take the easy way out and go trolling for dolphin, go to the hump and look for footballs, or you can like make these moves. And that's what I did that day. I made the move. I pulled up the app. The clients, I talked to them about the risks, gave them the options, and that's always good to do. That's always good to do. And if they would have said, yeah, let's go grouper fishing, I would have did that. So I laid it out to them. And I always try to save, like you do your best as a guide, you know, in these scenarios. But my gut feeling was telling me if we made this move at this time that we could be there. And sure enough, as soon as I made the move, I found the water. I found this little pocket of nice water and there was all these boats high speed fishing around me, and it was like insane. But I picked off this little strip of water, and where these couple eddies were moving through. And sure enough, as soon as I got into that blue water at the right time, it's like I did my best to get there. I burned a ton of gas to get there, and which is part of fishing, you know. I wasn't afraid to make that move that day, and because I just had a feeling. And sure enough, we got there, and we this was the result. You know, we were 2 for 2, and those are the only 2 bites that we had. And I think I fished a little bit longer after we got them, but really then we burned out of there pretty quick. And then we went and caught some muttons and stuff. Had a great rest of the day and filled the bag for the guys. But then I go down here. I talk about high speed versus slow speed fishing. So one thing I did later in the season last year is I started to make my change from slow to high. And it's a little bit of work to do, but you have to be ready to make those moves. Some days they don't want it fast, but some days they want it fast. And you just got to make the move when you need to. You got to have enough rods to change things out, and you know, and it's a lot of extra shit that you have to carry. So, but you know, slow speed trolling, I do feel that really, you know, happens in like when the water's hot. So I walk you through this stuff here. You can go to the blog and read it. Like I said, my preferred technique is I like to troll ballyhoo mixed with some plugs. And you know, sometimes they show preference to ballyhoo, sometimes they show preference to plugs. It just depends on the day. Some days they want the lures they want the baits on the top. Some days they want the baits on the on this below the surface on the planers. You just, like I said, it's it's like it changes all the time. It changes all the time. So you have to be ready to make those moves. So, and you have to anticipate it. Okay. So high speed trolling, you know, I talk about that and about why I feel that high speed trolling makes a lot of sense during certain times of year, around certain moons, especially in the winter months. And then I also talk about I also go through some insights of what I look for when I make those changes. Adapting the fishing pressure. There's just a lot more people out there fishing. And what happens is when you get a lot of people out there fishing and a lot more boats, it pushes the fish down. Okay. So it just is what it is. And plus you put all the spear divers in the water now, and they're spearing fish, and just a lot going on. So if those fish are not in like ferocious eating modes, and they're more like they'll spook, they'll stop biting, and that's how it goes. So so I walk through that approach. So it's very detailed. Make sure you go through and read it. Give it some time. Yeah, a lot of it is like my inner fish conspiracy self, but it's just everything I write is based on what I do as a guide, give you some insights, and it's more to it than just going out there and burning lures around. It really is. So that's it. And now in the Wahoo course, I do have a more detailed explanation of what to look for, how to plan using SatFish. So so I have that out there in the new Wahoo Mastery course. So Make sure you guys go check it out. That's all I got for today, guys. You can follow me on Instagram, Good Karma Sportfishing _FL_keys. You can sign up for a free trial of SatFish and use the Good Karma code. I am an affiliate, proud affiliate, and you can sign up for the Good Karma. Sign up using the Good Karma code. Get $20 off. Then now's a good time to sign up for the free trial. It's Wahoo season. Spend the time. Pull it up every day, take screenshots. One of the best things you guys can do right now with SatFish is that you can pull it up, and then when you're in your office, instead of like watching videos and watching somebody else catch fish, if you see somebody else catch some fish on your Instagram, what you can do, a little tip I can share with you guys, is take a picture. Most of these guys that they show you exactly what time they catch the fish, and then you can go up to SatFish, take a screenshot of your location, and then you can start virtually watching and creating your own little logbook as far as how things go. So that's, I'm going to leave you with that little tip, what you can do to learn how water moves and what type of water they're catching them in, what was happening out there as far as the actual, what type of water they were fishing in, and you can just go pull up the satellite image and see. So take the time to do that. Trust me, over time, you're gonna gather so much data that it's gonna be so fun. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna learn how the water moves, teach your kids. It's a great teaching tool. I have a client that uses SatFish to teach. He's a science teacher, and he pulls it up and he like uses it as a tool to teach kids how the ocean moves. And what everybody's talking about, water temperature, how the ocean is burning up. You can pull up SatFish, you can see what's actually going on out there. I also use it right now, and I look in the Gulf and I'm looking at the storms coming. I want to see where the eddies are at. And for me, I'm a weather nerd, and it's just one more layer for me, one more layer, because that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the science behind the fishing. I always have. And that's kind of why I started this podcast in the first place, was to share my love for the science of fishing and the process behind it. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.